By the way, I always have to correct something I jest about in a previous video. I don't actually consider us a communist dictation and authority to the planet because we did everything we did to not allow that to happen. While, unfortunately, like most of our rhetoric, syntax, and variables are so backwards, we're in action backwards with it. We sort of had to take on our enemies' governmental construct, philosophically and ideologically, with a dominant position in the planet. But again, if we do not seek out an end, an exit to these actions, then history will see us as having been and consisting to promote and consist upon this paradox of a position unto which was invented to end that position from ever becoming possible ever again. Leading us once again to that bizarre paradox. How do you get out of a paradox? How do you justify safely getting out of that paradox when the paradox was paradoxed to never allow such a paradox? That didn't make sense, but if you get what I'm pointing out, and you're trying not to figure out how to make me look stupid because it might have sort of made you feel silly, then hopefully this communication actually worked. And this asterisk on the last video uh, sort of makes sense. But I truly do believe in the free will of man, any and everywhere. I believe there's many people like my grandfather in the hearts of all races, all creeds, all cultures, all societies, willing to need no command other than the righteousness in his heart, to refine what ultimately America has done over the last 75 years to create a sustainability to democracy in capital and social terms, micro and macro, ultimately. You know, certain variables of healthcare technologies are still going to be vindicated and validated by a communist or a capitalist interest to create a competitive edge, to create something even better, something more efficient, something more effective, something which saves lives. And for a period of time, I'm sure they'll be patented on the global market in a manner into which is theoretically governed by the UN, but ultimately, on a basic level, with all these colds and thus then therefore all the medical needs which are as basic and simple and cannot be really evolutionarily, competitively made better in the circumstances that these technologies are to save a life. Ultimately, I really, truly believe I have at least a slight enough grasp over the whole picture, even though I clearly have not been educated to have such a whole perspective. But if it is as simple as I think it might be, I do think it's time